Hello, and welcome to TechBytes.io. In this episode, we're going to write a command line application in Python. Our command line application will be the creation of a guessing game program where you have a certain amount of guesses to pick the number that the computer has already picked. So let's start coding. So since we are going to be running this in the command line, let's go ahead and start in the command line. So go ahead and make your way to your directory or your folder in which you are going to store your script or your file in. And let's go ahead and create a new file here. We're going to call this, we'll call it guessing game. Keep it all together. guessinggame.py. And go ahead and open up your text editor, and then we'll get ready to rock. Alright, so now that we're in our text editor, let's go ahead and plan our game. So we're going to do that with a bunch of comments. And so here we're going to plan. This is our plan. Plan the game. And so what does our game want to do? So this is a random number guessing game. So we are going to have the game is going to pick a random number, right? Well, maybe if I can spell it right, we will do that. Pick a random number. And then, so to restrict it some, the player will have a certain number of guesses. Yeah, so we'll get a certain number of guesses and restrict the number of guesses that the player has in order to pick the random number that the computer has already selected. And then we will need a prompt to ask you or the player, well, what is your guess? What is your guess? And then we have our rules of the game. So if guess is too high, then we need to tell you that it is too high. It's too high. And obviously the other way around, if the guess is too low, then we have the same thing. We want to tell that it is too low. So that allows the player to know which direction they should start altering their guesses, right? And then, of course, if they get the right, if guess equals or is equal to the answer, then we'll have a congrats message. And then if you don't get it in the number of guesses, if you don't get the answer, then let's see, if you don't get the answer, then what is it? You get a nope message, and the game quits. Game quits. Alright, so that's our plan. We'll use this plan for the game. So what we're going to have is it's a random number game. The computer itself is going to pick the random number, which is right here. You'll have a certain number of guesses. So we could say you have 5 guesses or 10 guesses or whatever we choose it to be. A certain number of guesses in which you get to try and guess the number that they got, that the computer picked. And then you'll have a prompt to tell you to make your guess. And if it's too high, we'll tell you it's too high. If it's too low, it'll tell you it's too low. If it's equal to the answer, then it'll be a congratulatory message. And if you don't get the answer, then it'll say, nope, you didn't do it, or some sort of message, and the game will quit. So that's the plan for the game, or the plan for our little application. Now let's go ahead and start coding it. So let's Control Save or Control S and save our plan here. And I'm going to move the plan down to give some space to actually write the program. And so let's see what our game is going to do. So that's what we're going to say. It's a random number game, random number guessing game, right? That's what this game is. All right. And so since it's a random number guessing game, of course we're going to use the random library. So let's make sure we import our random library. And because we will be using our random integer function, right? Since we will be picking a random number. So let's go ahead and do that now. So we're going to assign our answer. Here's our variable, our answer variable. And we're going to say random randint. And let's pick a range. So let's say, maybe 1 through 50. So we have a range of 1 to 50 here. And let's see, so we've picked our random number. Here, let's put the comments around these while we do it, so we know what we're doing here. All right. Now the player is going to have a certain number of guesses. So we gotta get the certain number of guesses. So we're gonna have a guess count. We'll say guess count equals range. And let's give them maybe 5 guesses. So we do 1 to 6 because it doesn't ever hit 6. It stops before that. So our range will be this will be 5 guesses, right? So we're going to add in allow them 5 guesses, and we need to ask the player what their guess is. Before that, we need a prompt because we need to tell them what it is that they're going to be guessing on, right? So we need a prompt. I'm going to move this up here, and we're going to say print, and we'll say I am thinking of a number between 1 and 50. And of course, you can make this whatever you want. Just make sure you can say 1 in 100, 1 in 20, 1 in 10. Just make sure that you're in your random int function that your second number equals that. So in this one, we're going to say 50. So we have 50 here, 50. So a number between 1 and 50. All right. So now we need to ask our player what our guess is. You know what? Make life a little bit easier. Let's just go ahead and we're going to cut this out because we know what the plan is. All right. So we're going to ask our player what the guess is, and we've allowed them 5 guesses. So let's say we're going to use a for loop. I'm going to say for guess taken in, and we're going to say guess count, right? Because we created that variable. For guess taken in guess count. And we're going to print what is your guess, right? And then we need to take in the input, so say guess, say equals, and of course it'll be an integer because we are asking. We already told them it's a number, so we'll have integer, our input here, right? So guess equals integer input, and that will be our guess. Then we have if the guess is too high. So now we need to go into, we're going to create an if statement here. Then we're going to say if guess is less than the answer. Oh, I guess I said too high, right? So if guess is greater than the answer, we will say, we'll print and say your guess is too high! Exclamation point. And then we'll do an elif. Elif guess is lower, too low. Then we will say print, and we'll say your guess is too low. Wow, my fingers are all over the place today. Too low. Now let's put it. Your guess is too low. Alright. So that's this one here that I already did. So here, just so that we all know where things are here, we'll move it up and put it in here. Because it's just a comment. Can go anywhere. Alright. And then we're going to have our else, and we're going to break from this. Because that would mean that our answer is correct. Our answer is correct. And with that, we will say, how about to make sure that you're in line with the for loop, and we'll say if guess equals answer. Let's get some room here. If guess equals answer, then we will print awesome. Woo. Awesome. You guessed the number in space. So we'll put a plus sign and string. We're going to attach the string of guess taken, right? Because that is what our for loop is and has the. So back inside the command line, let's go ahead and take a look, and we have, there it is, guessinggame.py. So let's run it. So let's see what we have. So we're going to type in Python, type in guessinggame.py, and there we go. We said, I am thinking of a number between 1 and 50. What is your guess? So obviously the best way to do it is to start in half. So we'll say 25. Oh, too high. What is your guess? So we'll cut it in half again, say 10. Now we're too low. So 15. Guess is too high. Alright, how about 13? Oh, I got it. And we did it in 4 guesses. So I rock. That's awesome. However, I do see something that could make life just a little bit better here is, would I be allowed to guess? It doesn't tell me this because I'm looking at it and we say, what is your guess? And we say I'm thinking of a number between 1 and 50. But nowhere in here does it tell me that I only have a certain number of guesses. And I did it in 4 guesses. But if I had missed that and missed the 5th one, then the game would have just ended and I wouldn't have known why. It would have just been over. I guess it would have told me nope, right? It would have told me the nope message. But it would not have, I wouldn't have had that information. So let's at least provide that information, because if there's anything, we always want our applications to be as intuitive as possible and provide us as much information as possible. So let's get back into into our text editor and add that portion in. Okay, so back into our text editor, let's take a look here. So how could we do this? So we have our 4 guess taken guess count. So we already have our count up here, which is a range of 1 to 6. We're allowing 5 guesses. So what we could do is we get inside of our for loop, and we're going to create another variable called guess number. We're going to have it equal to the length of the guess count. Alright, so it's going to give us the length of the guess count, when the guess count, once again up here, is that variable which provides the range. So it's going to give us the length of that, and we're going to subtract guess taken, which is right here, our for loop, so that's the guess that's being taken. And then we are going to add 1. And why is that? So because we're already in our for loop, it's already started, we've already taken our guess, doing the guess taken. Guess number would then, if we did guess count minus guess taken, it would be 4, right off the bat. It would tell us 4. But we want it to always equal out to the number of guesses that are actually available. So we're going to add 1 back into it. So, and then we're going to prompt, we're going to let our players know that you have, and we're going to close this off and add a plus, and we're going to do string of guess number, and we'll do another plus, and let's make sure everything's all nice and clean here. We'll put a space there. Oh wait, no, we're going to say space. Okay, so now we have our space there. Alright, so we have, what we've just done is we've created the guess number variable, and we have taken the length of our range up here, which is the guess count, and we're subtracting the guess taken, and then we're adding 1 back into it, so that we actually get the actual number of guesses that are available at the time. Alright, so let's pop back into our command line and see, oh well, let's save this, Control S, let's save this, and let's pop back into our command line and see this in action. Alright, so back inside the command line, let's see if everything we did works. So we'll do python guessinggame.py, and let's, should be able to scroll down so we can see more here. There we go. We'll hit return. There we go. So it tells you you have 5 guesses now. So I'm thinking of a number between 1 and 50. You have 5 guesses. What's your guess? So again, we'll start with 25. We're too high. Go to 10. We're too low. Go to 15. We got 2 guesses left. We're still too low. Go to 17. Now we're too high. So obviously the answer is 16. Awesome. You guessed it in 5 guesses. You rock. Awesome. So there we go. We've created our guessing game, our Python guessing game application. It's a command line application, and the computer randomly picks a number, and our job is to guess the number in a certain number of guesses. Thanks for joining me this episode, and congratulations on creating your command line guessing game application in Python. Keep on coding. And don't forget to check out other episodes at www.techbytes.io. See you next time.